Welcome to Small Talk with Raincraft. I'm Subha, a leadership and executive coach.
And I'm Hasita, a marketing strategist.
We're just two people who love to talk
and love to learn.
And this is us being curious about the world around us.
Join us.
Small Talkers, welcome back. How have you been? I've been very busy trying to catch an even busier Hasita. What's up, Hasita? Where are you?
I am everywhere all at the same time, I think, and trying to do too many things is finally catching up with me, both physically and emotionally. And I think in the context of work, yes, we've become a we. That is the big news this year, as I'm sure I've mentioned multiple times in season 3. And sometimes I feel the weight of managing people, delegating versus sometimes doing it myself, kind of catching up. Mainly because these are roles that I've served, myself in the past. And therefore, now when I have to delegate, when I know that I have to hand that baby over to someone else, there's a bit of resistance. In fact, there's a lot of resistance, I think, because I often find myself asking this question, why even delegate? Right? If I can just do it myself and if I can do it more efficiently and maybe even better, I feel like such a bad person just saying these things aloud. Why am I even handing it off to somebody else sometimes? Yeah.
No, I think you've hit the core kind of set of reasons why most people don't delegate. But interestingly, what I've been noticing as a really strong theme, especially with business owners, founders like you, and senior leaders, or anybody just managing a set of people, is that it takes us quite a while to even get to this awareness that, hey, what's happening? Why am I always busy? Why am I just short of time and doing so many things? Mind you, many of you are getting all those things done. It's not that you're not.
Yeah.
Right?
But yeah, it's just that we are doing it with great resentment.
Yeah. Resentment.
Every time the bills have to be paid, you're wondering why.
And at a kind of a cost to your own, how much do you enjoy it when it's all just crammed up like that? And so I've been noticing that there's even this awareness that, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing some of these things, that itself, many need that light to be shined on them. That can you take a good hard look at what you do on a, let's call a kind of an average or a standard business day, right? What are those 20-30 tasks that you do? And I even tell them that when you're listing out these tasks, don't really just restrict it to, hey, I reached office at 10 a.m. and then from 10 to the next 10 hours, 12 hours. These include everything that you do, because there is a lot that's happening that is not just attributed to work, right? You're quickly logging into a PTM Zoom call. You're quickly ordering some groceries somewhere. Your mind is being taxed and pulled in so many ways, but those are things that are getting done. Right?
I think you're absolutely right. Like this morning, though we got a late start, and this is the first thing we are doing today, the fact is that I did do a vegetable run. I did make breakfast. I did have a conversation around the bills that need to be paid. So I realized that by the end of it, I was already feeling drained and it felt like I needed a nap. And it was not even 10 in the morning yet. So I think, yeah, we often mix up work and life and we behave as though the life component doesn't exist half the time.
Yeah. So what's useful is, one, while you're kind of doing an inventory of everything that happens in a good day or bad day, just on any day, it's also important to kind of think about what's all this towards, right? Like you've started your agency, Hasita. So even if you look at, let's say, a 6-month time frame or even a 3-month, like not too far into the future to make it one of those lofty interview questions, but where do you want to be? What are those 3-4 goals that are important for you to meet, right? Like, it could be our Damn Good Marketing podcast season 2 should be kind of done and dusted in 6 months. It could be that you want to work with a certain kind of client, or it could be that you need to do some kind of course, whatever it may be. Keeping those 3-4 goals, and of course life goals, like time with your daughter, or fitness or swimming or whatever it is, if that kind of list of goals is always in front of you, then really it starts to make sense how the average day is, how much is it really contributing to those goals.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, honestly, if I look back even at my own calendar, a lot of things that have been put down are work related things. Right? So it's, unless there's a full day that I'm spending at school, it's probably not making it to my calendar. But these are things that are happening. These are calls that you're getting on a daily basis. And there's also the little fact that when I plan a calendar, I think I plan it with the intent that I'll do it myself. Like the concept of delegation itself has not crossed my mind. And finally, when I sit down to do it, the thought does enter my brain that, okay, maybe I can give it to this person on the team and they'll actually end up doing a better job than I do. But by then I've pushed it too late and there's just not enough time to, hand it off to someone else. So maybe do you think that it's also a mindset shift that when you look at these task lists, you should always think who else can do it first and not really jump into it yourself?
No, that would be a great way to look at things, right? Like, if, okay, I'm doing it now, but potentially a few weeks from now or a couple of months from now, who could be doing it?
Yeah.
So many senior leaders and managers, if you ask them, what are you doing today that you were doing 3 years ago also, things will pop up, right? And then you have to ask why, because you have to keep operating at your current, and if at least next level, right? You have to keep pushing yourself towards it, because that is the demands of any strong performance oriented workplace, and that's definitely the demands of when you run your own business, right? You have to keep like operating at the next level. Then why are you still doing stuff that you used to do 3 or 4 years back? I mean, clearly they're not rocket science items. It's not like you're the only person in that organization who can do that. If that is true, then you have another problem. But I'm sure it's not that way, right? So why hasn't that got downstreamed?
Don't we all operate from that savior complex situation in some ways, because you're running this yourself and there are bills to pay, and people are dependent on you running a tight ship to a large extent. In fact, just yesterday I was in this meeting where lots of people were involved, and these people have been in that system for a very long time. We as an agency have been in that system for a very long time, and despite that, one of the leaders on the call felt the need to highlight the fact that everybody is incompetent, to the extent that she even went out and said, "Hey, everybody is looking very lost, and therefore let me just reiterate this context yet again." And you know that at least one person on that team has died a small death in that moment, because they're all trying to do their best, right? But despite that, as a leader, I think when you look at it, you're thinking in terms of all the things that have not gotten done, right? So when I see that I'm repeating some of the things that I did 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even, maybe it's just me wanting to be as efficient as possible. Is that the right way to go about it? How do you see it, really?
It's honestly, one, it's not sustainable, because you are always adding new things to do. And most likely the newer things are more challenging or more difficult, and take up more of your time.
Yeah.
More importantly, I think what you said, like you're leaving it for when you just don't want to do it anymore. You're kind of sick and tired of it, or you're frustrated that it's still stuck with you. Nobody, sometimes we're all waiting for that kind of dream sequence where, like, maybe 2 3 team members walk in and say, hey, what can I take off your plate, and let me do this for you and let me do that for you. But that's not going to happen.
For sure. Yeah. In fact, right now you said that, and I can already think of how badly swamped they are. Despite which, if efficiency is something that we are still craving, all of us, then maybe we are not delegating the right things, or we are not going about it the right way. But genuinely, you've sold me on the idea of delegation, right? Like, that's why people exist. And I think sometimes when we delegate, people also feel more empowered. They feel like they own the system. In fact, I've had this person come up to me and say, hey, all that knowledge you have is just composting in your own head. When are you going to get it out and share it with us, right? And that was a huge wake up call for me, that the intent is there. but I have not figured out the how as well. So is there a process? How do you delegate? What do you look for?
Actually, for the art of delegation, there is a science too, right? So, what I do point people towards is a simple thing called a skill will matrix. And I mean, any Google search will give you that, but it simply says this, that when you're looking to hand down or downstream a task, you have to look at two aspects. One is what is the skill or what is the ability of the person to do that task, and then what is their will, what is their intent, aptitude, inclination towards work like that. Right? So
Yeah.
I mean, the minute you have two parameters, any behavioral scientist will make it into four quadrants, right? So we have kind of four types of people or four buckets into which folks could fall. That's important because typically you've reached this stage out of frustration, right? You already want to get this task off your list. You want to hand it down to somebody.
Yeah.
Unless you know and have a
Badly.
good idea of what is the kind of person you're handing over to in terms of skill and will, you will then not be allocating enough time for that transition, right? You're expecting that from the next second on, I've given you like a brief overview, now you pick it up and run. Now they will pick it up and stumble and fall, reinforcing your view that this was a bad idea to start with.
Bad idea to begin. Oh, yeah. So true. So true. So you're saying that there is that aspect, right? In terms of me giving it to somebody and them delivering a product. What is the gap there really is what this matrix is
Yeah.
trying to address? Or is it more of a preemptive tool?
It is very preemptive. Like actually, we can, I ask managers to sit down in a room and list out your 5, 6, 10, direct reports or team members, and think of the tasks that you want to delegate, and just write down whether on the skill and aptitude scale are they high or low, and on the will, intent, attitude scale are they high or low, right? And then think about whom you want to delegate to, and hence how much of your time you still have to factor in, right? For example, if you're going to somebody, if you find that, hey, I still seem to be doing this senior management report, I don't need to kind of spend that 2 hours a week on it, I've got other people doing reporting in my team, so let me hand it off. Right? So if you're going to hand it off to someone who's anyway skilled at reporting and who's doing a good job, so they have good intent to do another report well, then don't micromanage them. Give them clear instructions, tell them where to get the data, what the report should look like, but empower them to do a really good job. You really, literally, you're taking it off your plate, right? And you're just doing a very basic supervision. The other kinds are, for example, you have like an intern or a fresher, extremely high energy. Like they want to please you, they want to do the good job, but they don't know how to do it yet.
What to do or how to do.
Yeah. So there you allocate more time. Say, okay, let me guide you through this. Bring me draft 1, bring me draft 2, right? I'll tell you what's going right, what's going wrong, till they reach a stage where they are better at that task.
That's like a lot of fodder for thought. Yeah. Because I do have this person and I have given her a brief. And I think in my mind, there is still the expectation that the first thing she produces will be the most amazing thing that anyone's ever seen. But this actually clarifies a lot because she has that will. But in terms of skill set, I think, and she is also quite aware and open to it in the sense that she is bringing back a lot of drafts, right? And somewhere my mind rejects what I think I have accepted on a certain level, that she will need those number of iterations. So, yeah.
Yeah. Then you have those who are, just don't want to do something. Like, hey, listen, I'm not a very, number crunching MIS guy. I know how to do it. Like my Excel skills, all that's fine. But can I do something else? But you don't have a choice. You do need them to pitch in on this. Then you have to figure out how to engage with them. Make it a little more exciting. Maybe say that, hey, you seem to have those skills. So maybe you can let somebody shadow you, or you mentor somebody, or you get somebody to do it with you. Like what's going to energize this process for them so that it becomes more interesting, right? Maybe, hey, if you do it, then you can present to client yourself, right? Or you can, something that will add a little masala for it, on it for them.
Yeah, and to find that motivator and tie the two together makes a lot of sense again. Because sometimes it's just a task otherwise, right? And we've all done it and we don't like to. Yeah.
Correct. And the only group that you really need to kind of very directly supervise is somebody who neither knows how to do it and also doesn't want to do it, right? Which is maybe like a poor performer or somebody who's kind of in the wrong place, honestly, but stuck there, right? They're a creative guy in an accounting firm or vice versa, who you then have to really give them very clear instructions, and you have to keep supervising till they move out of that quadrant, either skill wise or intent wise. You will need more of your time there. But as you can see, Asita, each kind of person will take different amount of your time.
Yeah.
Right. None of them will make it completely go away. That you don't have to look at it at all. That's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But they all don't demand the same amount of time, but you have to plan for what each one will demand so that the whole process is meaningful for you. Otherwise, you're back to, I should have just done this myself, and what a mess I've made. And
yeah. So typically in startup context or in the context of smaller businesses, you invariably end up considering the cost of a hire while you bring them into the picture. So there may not be even a 70 or 80% of a ready product, so to speak. But you are taking them in because they come at a certain price point, which is friendly on the pocket. And there, maybe what you're able to judge is simply the intentionality, the larger will, so to speak, of wanting to be in the system, right? So then when you find instances of low skill, low will people, how do you go about it? Is it worth investing your time, energy, or is it something that you have to take a call on a case by case basis? Or is it just better to kind of drop them where they are and understand that maybe they are not in the right place at the right time, and just move on to maybe somebody else?
no, I think you kind of presented all the options. And but what I'd like you to remember is that, you know, the person has not really failed you, right? The fact is they have not succeeded at the task you handed over to them, right? So it's a combination. Actually, it's kind of three dimensional if you look at it that way, that there is their skill or ability, then there is their intent, and then there is also all of this is for that task. So if it didn't work out for reporting, maybe it'll work out better for vendor management. Maybe it'll work out better with this person for client communication. So you have to, experiment a bit. And in startups, you do expect people to wear multiple hats, right? In a more structured company, you say, hey, you guys are, a development team, or you guys are the finance team, and you expect certain skill sets, and hence certain tasks will go there. But when you're building an agency and in smaller firms, you do hire for a bit of breadth,
Right.
so you also have to explore that breadth and find where is this person actually, even when we are discussing this activity, there's like a whole body yes from them, and they're more energized, and they're more, they look happier about it. And maybe this is where I should give it a shot in 2-3 things, and then finally, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't.
So what I'm hearing really is that, first of all, delegation is not something that you just do to take things off of your plate. It has to be a more mindful exercise towards a larger objective. And if that means that you're spending a certain amount of time in the short term, then it's worth it. Maybe if you choose to do it to the right people. So that's really, I'm assuming, important as well.
See, you're still not a believer.
Maybe more episodes when we get there.
No, this one, there's really a lot of resistance. One, even before the resistance, there's the lack of awareness that, hey, I shouldn't be doing this anymore, and this is what's filling up my life unnecessarily. And then the lack of any kind of process or planning around the activity. So then you're setting yourself up to be disappointed, repeating work, always correcting someone else, and feeling like, this is never going to be an option for you.
And basically being the person in the Zoom meeting who says, okay, I don't trust you to do this, so let me just do it myself, and then disappointing a whole bunch of people, I think.
Yeah. No, these are real people, right? Who stand up and say, "I know none of you idiots can do it, and I'll do it myself." I mean, these people exist.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. We see them almost on a weekly basis. So yeah.
What an exciting life you lead.
Yeah, it's just called the agency life. So nobody believes us.
So let's see if I'm able to catch you faster next time, because you've delegated the heck out of everything, and you've got a few hours for other things.
Let's see. Maybe there's a success story there. We'll keep an eye.
As always, so much fun chatting with you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, small talkers. Thank you for listening till the very end. We love bringing these episodes to you, and we hope you enjoy them too. Please do drop in your comments, likes, shares, reviews, whatever you can do on the platform that you're on to help us reach a larger and larger audience. And that would really make our day. You can find out more about today's guest or today's episode in the show notes. All the details and how you can find us on social media is right there. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.